All right, let's walk through the hardware steps and get a high-level overview of everything that it is that we're working with. So this right here is a Jetson 2GB Nano developer kit. It comes in this nice little static bag, so make sure whenever you're working with exposed motherboards or sensitive hardware, you always touch the metal to get all the static energy out of your hand before you touch it so you don't short anything. And walking through our ports left to right. So this right here, this is a USB-C outlet. This is where we're going to be powering our device. I have my USB-C power cord right there. I'm leaving it unpowered because we don't want to power it up until we put the operating system in there. Currently, there's no SD card with the operating system loaded on this device yet. And we won't be using this in headless mode, so we're going to need a monitor, keyboard, mouse to interact with the device. Because remember, so this is essentially, it's like a little computer. So I have my HDMI cable to connect to the monitor. I have my keyboard and mouse USBs plugged in. And I also have an Ethernet plugged in so that I can remote into this device via my Mac later on. So that way, next time I fire this thing up, I don't have to plug it into a monitor and I can remotely operate with it via other computers. And so one last thing here before we finish up. So I have a pretty standard SanDisk 64GB SD card right here. And I'm going to use this to to provide the operating system to the device. I don't have the operating system loaded up yet, but if we lift the Jetson, right here where my finger is, there is a slot for the SD card. And it's going to go in just like so. So you just kind of slip it in there and see how it sticks out. I'm not going to push it all the way in, so that way we can kind of see where it goes. But that is where you plug in your SD card. So I'm going to take that back out. And instead, I'm going to temporarily load it into my big SD card converter, because I need to load this SD card up with the operating system, and that's the next step. Hello, everybody. Let's start walking through the next phase, which is installing the operating system onto the SD card that we'll be booting from. So first thing we have here is the Nvidia Jetson Download Center. I am currently working with the Jetson Nano 2GB, the developer kit version. You may be using a different version, such as the AGX Orin, whatever it is that you're using. Make sure you find your corresponding image to work with. I'm going to be using version 4.6 in this background. It's kind of funny. This is actually my second take, because the first time I was using version 4.61 and I ran into an installation error, and I was doing some looking in the forums and people were saying that it's not very stable. So I would recommend you use the 4.6 version if you want to follow along. That's what I'm going to be using. All right, so we download that version 4.6. I have it right here, Jetson Nano -64. Oops, why did I name it 64? I spun that around backwards. We'll just call it Jetson Nano, like so. All right, and now that we have our image, we are going to run into the next step here, which is to actually take that image that we downloaded and put it onto an SD card. I'm using a Mac, so I'm going to use the instructions for Mac. They're almost identical to Windows because I am going to be using this really cool GUI to help manage the installation process called Etcher, which I have right here. At some point in the recent past, it looks like Etcher changed its GUI. It doesn't perfectly match the instructions on Nvidia, but we can still make things work. So I have Etcher installed here. I'm going to take my SD card and I'm now going to plug it into my laptop. And we're going to start walking through the steps. I'm going to go ahead and ignore here. I already etched it all on there just because I wanted to speed things up. So mine already has been written to the disk, so it comes up with this little prompt, but I'm just going to hit ignore. And I'm going to walk you through the steps that I did to get it installed. So first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that this SD card is a compatible format. So I'm going to come over here to my disk utility tool, open this up, and we're going to, so I've already formatted this to exFAT. If you wanted to reformat it on a Mac, what you do is you'd open up the disk utility tool, you go to erase, and you choose format exFAT. So this is the format I'm using. I'm using this format because my SD card is a 64 gigabyte one. You may be using a different size or type, so it might be worth double checking with your corresponding SD card what type of format you need. But exFAT should work for the majority of SD cards, as that is the format that they are usually shipped from factory with. Okay, so I have my SD card properly formatted. And if we come over here now into the etcher tool, I'm going to select Flash from File. I have here the Jetson Nano 2 gigabyte images. So you would select the image that you're working with. I'll just go ahead and select this one. Select the target. So there's my formatted SD card. And then you'd hit this flash button. Okay, so I've taken the SD card. You can kind of see it right here. Stick it poking out. I slide that in. You'll hear a little spring click in to let you know that it's been placed properly. And then I'm going to take my USB-C power cable here. I'm going to plug it in to the Jetson device. And you'll see there's a little green light that just turned on right here. And if I point the camera at my monitor, we'll see that Nvidia Jetson logo just flashed. And in a few moments, see up here, we can see there's some code compiling. It's doing its first initial download. Okay, so the system configuration window has popped up, so we're gonna walk through this now. I'm gonna go ahead and accept the usage agreements, select English as my language. Okay, I'm gonna use the recommended partition size. That's what the documentation says to do, is to use the recommended. And I'm gonna also go ahead. So something important here is that this swap file plays a pretty crucial role. I will flash over to the Roboflow documentation in a minute, but this swap file is a requirement. So make sure you install that. And we'll go ahead and delete the unused bootloader. Okay, final step on the Jetson. We fully booted up here. We're loaded into the operating system. I'm going to open up this LX terminal application, type in the command ifconfig, and I want my IP address, which can be found right here. So 10.0.0.71, let's remember that. If your ifconfig does not pull up the ETH0 IP address, it means that the Ethernet cable that you have plugged into the Jetson either isn't functioning or something's wrong with your router. So a really fast way to make sure everything's working is if you open up the browser, and if you can connect to Google and do a Google search, then you know everything's working as expected. All right, let's jump back over to the Mac. All right, welcome back onto the Mac side of things. Now that we have our Jetson set up, let's go ahead and remote into it so that way we can leverage some of the existing resources I have on my Mac machine. So to remote into it, I'm going to use this SSH command. My username was set to J. And remember, this is that IP address we saw on the ETH0 connection. So this is going to allow me to connect to the Jetson via the Ethernet cable, connecting us to the network. And we see here I am now remoted into the Jetson. I really like to use this structure because now I no longer require a monitor, keyboard, and mouse to interact with my Jetson. All I have to do is I plug in the power, I plug in the Ethernet cable, and that's it. So it makes managing the Jetson device much easier with this approach. So over here I have opened here our docs for interacting with the Nvidia Jetson. This can be found at docs.roboflow.com. If you come on down here into the inference object detection side, it's right here in the panel. And we're now going to execute the following. So I'm running on the Jetson Nano 2 GB. So I executed each of these lines of code line by line a minute ago, since I'm using the Nano 2 GB. No, a lot of people won't be using that, so I'm not going to show it. But if you are, just execute each one of these line by line to make sure that you have enough swap memory available for the model initialization phase. All right, so let's start executing. So I'm going to copy this, come back over here to my Jetson. I'm going to execute download. All right, so the first thing we're doing here is we are pulling an image from Docker. So we're pulling from the Roboflow Docker Hub the inference server Jetson image. It's pretty big. I think it's like 2.1 GB. I downloaded it just a moment ago so that we didn't have to sit there and watch me download it, but yours might take a few minutes to fully download. Now that I have the image pulled onto my Jetson's Docker engine, I can run a container using this next command, docker run. And so just kind of walking through the command here. So we're going to use Docker, we're going to use the run command, which means building a container from an image. We're going to use all of the GPUs, we're going to host it on the Jetson device, and we're going to build the container using that inference server Jetson image that we just downloaded. So I'm going to run this, and we'll see here in just a moment that, all right, there we go. So it's launching, and we're starting to go through the execution stuff. So while that goes through, I'm going to pop open my second terminal here, and I copied an image, this helmet test.jpg. I used the scp secure copy command to send over a picture of a helmet from my Mac machine over here to the Jetson, and I want to perform inference on this test image using my hard hats dataset right here. So the best way to build out the command, if we come over here and look at it, so it's just like running a inference on a remote endpoint server, except we are pointing it at the local host within the Jetson instead of a publicly hosted URL on Roboflow. And we see here that the inference server is now ready to receive traffic. So let's start putting together this command. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this whole command, drop it into my Jetson via the remote, and we're going to piece this together, step by step. All right, let's piece this URL together step by step, starting with adjusting the name of the image we're going to reuse. We'll use helmet test. And then the next thing we need to do is update the name of the model being referenced. So if I come over here to my library, my app, the easiest way I always find is to use the example web app command here. So I'm going to grab my model, drop that in. It's version 3. And the API key is as follows. We will copy paste each of these in, right? So we are making a base64 request, post request, a base64 encoded image being placed inside of a post request as the body, and we're sending that to this destination hosted inside of the Jetson. So if I press enter here, we'll see in the other side that a few things are going on. So the thing that's pretty important to note here is when you turn on the inference server on your Jetson, it does not specify which model to pull down until you make your first request. So it's collecting all of the data from this post request URL endpoint to understand which model it needs to be operating. And so if we come down here, we also see this listed in the documentation as well. So if we scroll down, right, when the model is pulled down in this fashion, it actually executes a offline mode capability that allows you to, I could now come over here and I could disconnect my Jetson from the internet, and this would still work just fine. Because when we executed this first request, it checked and it said, okay, this is the name of the project, this is the version and the API key that I need to pull that model from Roboflow. And now I can continue to hit this without any additional information from the internet. And we see here that I have my predictions listed. So everything's working. So this Jetson's great. I could unplug this completely. I could go offline. There's so many different things I can do with it. It's fully loaded. And that concludes operating with Jetsons.